could have the best workout plan in the world, the best meal plan in the world, but if you don't have the mindset, you're cooked. Deep fried cooked. And that's the reality for the average man. The average man doesn't have the mindset for this shit. That's why it's not because necessarily he doesn't know what to do in the gym. It's because he just doesn't go. The average man would rather stay at home than go to the gym when it's snowing. They don't want to go to the gym when it's raining, when it's cold outside, when the weather is not in the perfect conditions. They don't want to go to the gym after an 8-hour shift. They don't want to go to the gym after long hours of school or before school. The average man is lazy, right? Nobody wants to work for anything anymore. They don't have any fuel in the tank. They don't have energy, right? And here's the thing. It's not necessarily their fault that they don't have energy. It's not necessarily their fault that they don't have the motivation. They just don't have the right formula in place to produce a mindset that actually builds results, right? And when I'm talking about getting jacked, I'm not saying you got to be like a Sam Sulek or Ronnie Coleman or anything like that. I'm just saying a decent amount of muscle size to you at a decent level of body fat, somewhere in the range of 12 to 18% body fat. That sets you ahead of the average man, because the average man is not jacked. Look around, go to the mall, go to the supermarket, go to the Walmart. Not many people are actually in shape like that, right? And I'm going to go into these 2 mindset hacks that you need to build a formula for the right mindset to actually get jacked. But before I go into this formula, I just want to say, hit that link in the description if you want to get in the best shape of your life for 2026. You want to go into 2026 guns blazing. You're not really sure how. You need the mindset, you need the tools, and the meal plan, the workout plan, all that good stuff. Hit that link in the description. We'll hop on a call and we'll see if it makes sense to work together. A little shameless plug for those of you guys that need it. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. If you haven't done any of those 2 things yet, that's crazy work. That's crazy work. Make sure you do that right now. But let's get into the video. So basically, what I wanted to talk about is like the 2 formulas that you need to get jacked, right? So the 2 formulas you need. The first formula, the first part of the equation that you need for the mindset to get jacked is that you need an enemy, right? And I've talked about this in other videos as well, right? Where you need an enemy to push you forward, an enemy that brings you out of bed, the enemy that's going to push you to go to the gym after an 8-hour shift, the enemy that's going to push you to go through the snow when it's cold outside, when it's raining, whatever the conditions. You need an enemy to take you through that, right? Because right now you're like a car without gas in the tank, right? So we need an enemy that's going to fuel you with the right gas for you to actually go to the gym. No pun intended. But I'm going to go into a little story. You know, back when I was in high school, and I think I've told this story before, I was in a change room one time and I was actually wearing this exact t-shirt, right? This exact shirt. I ripped the sleeves of this shirt, right? Because I was like starting my fitness journey and stuff like that. I was on the ball team and when I was a basketball jersey. And, I was kind of feeling myself a little bit. At the time, I was scrawny, I was skinny. But I remember guys roasting me and be like, yo, you can't wear a shirt like that if you're not jacked. You can't wear a shirt like that if you don't have the arms for it, right? And, I was laughing in the moment. It was funny, whatever. Like on the outside, I was laughing, but inside, I was pissed. It made me feel some type of way. It made me feel a little insecure because it's like, yo, these guys roasted me on my arms. They're telling me I'm not jacked. I felt so insignificant in that moment. My presence didn't hold any weight to it, right? I just felt so weak in that moment. I was like, man, like, the insecurity I felt, it pissed me off and it drove me to want to get in shape. It drove me to want to be in the best shape of my life because I'm like, yo, I don't want to get flamed like that ever again, right? And keep in mind, years later, I already forgot about this guy. I don't even know what this guy looked like, what he sounded like, who he was or whatever. I just remember his words and those words stuck with me for a long time. And over time, the key is you want to outgrow this enemy. You want to outgrow these enemies. It's not something that you think about like lifelong. It's an enemy for a season to get you to the destination, right? So an enemy can be different for many people, right? It could be a person, place, thing. I got this idea from the book Patrick Bet-David's Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And it's more of a business book, but you can actually apply this same concept to fitness, right? You need an enemy, and it can be anything. Like I mentioned, like it can be like maybe a girl broke your heart. Maybe you're like me. Maybe someone roasted you, right? Maybe you were afraid of getting jumped. That's also another enemy I had. I used to be scared of just feeling weak walking down the street. I was just scared of getting jumped or whatnot. You know what I mean? Like those are the types of enemies that drove me because I know what it's like for, you're flexing in the locker room. You're flexing in front of the boys back in high school and all that stuff. You got these skinny arms. They grab your arm. They're able to palm your arm with their whole hand, right? That shit's embarrassing. That shit hurt, right? That's just like, bro, and people laughing at you when you're doing push-ups. You can barely do push-ups and shit. That's painful. Those things are painful and they're drivers that drove me to actually get in shape. Now, I don't use those enemies anymore to drive me because now I actually built a motivation for it. I actually have a natural drive for it, right? I don't need that fuel anymore. You know what I mean? But for you guys, you need to find an enemy that's going to take you out of bed. You're going to find an enemy that's going to drive you to the gym after that 8-hour shift, after those long hours of school, after, when it's raining, snowing, whatever the conditions be, whatever, the enemy that's going to give you the fuel to go there, right? And the second mindset hack I want to talk about is visualization, right? You need to visualize what it's going to be like and what you're going to look like when you're jacked, right? So now that we got the enemy, right? Now, how is it going to feel? Like, back in the days, I used to be and I still am, I always daydream a lot, and I'm a very imaginative person, right? And I used to just imagine myself what it would look like when I get on Body Game. What is it going to look like when I'm actually jacked? I used to close my eyes and imagine the choosing signals. I imagine people breaking their necks, look at me. Imagine how it's going to feel like and look like when I walk into a room. How is the aura farming going to be like? How is my surroundings going to react to this newfound transformation? I know this sounds kind of corny, but this is how you need to think about this. Why this is so powerful? Because when you can have a vision for the man that you want to become, it makes it more likely for you to feel hyped up and be more likely to actually go after it. That visualization is what pushed me through the days back before I even had the whip, when I was walking towards the gym in the snow, rain, cold, whatever the conditions were, thunder, you name it. After those 8-hour shifts, after those long hours of school, or maybe all of those conditions in one day, that's what drove me to go to the gym. Even before I had a whip, I used to walk to the gym, take the bus, walk, whatever. I got to where I wanted to go because I had that motivation, because I had a visualization, I had a vision of the man that I wanted to be. I saw it clearly and I chased after it. Even during the hard workouts, pushing myself, I go back to that visualization of the man that I want to be. And that helps me push through those plateaus, push through those hard sets and reps, right? So when you pair those two things together, you will have an unbreakable mindset so that you would actually reach your goals. Because the reason why many people don't reach their goals is because they don't have the mindset. They don't have the fuel. They don't have the gas in the tank to actually get there, right? So take this as you will, use it to your disposal, and let's go into 2026, guns blazing, no pun in, literally guns blazing, you know what I'm saying? Let's go into this new year and actually be the best version of ourselves, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you need help doing this shit, you need help implementing the things that we just talked about in this video in terms of mindset, and maybe you actually just don't know what to do in the gym and you're confused and you're not sure what to eat, hit that link in the description. I'm the guy for that. We'll see if it makes sense to work together. Little shameless plug for those of you guys that need this kind of help, right? Hit that link in the description, book a call. We'll have a little conversation and we'll see if it makes sense to work together. And if it does make sense to work together, we'll work on your mindset, your nutrition, and the workout plan so that you can actually build the physique that commands attention and never bores the audience. So if that sounds like you and you're serious and you want to actually change your life going into 2026, hit that link in the description. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. And remember, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. I'm going to catch y'all. See ya.